With great power comes great responsibility, but bro's like 3 months old. So what does that even look like? How do you parent a kid like Oliver, teach him morals, responsibility? Especially when there's a planet full of people coming to colonize his home. Like, what does all that even look like? We're introduced to Oliver as this purple little boy with great memory, and he's an even better liar. Now, he didn't lie per se, but he did withhold information as to when exactly his powers came in. And it's not until Mark promises, pinky promises, to take him out in the streets that he reveals the powers have been. Like, he's been had those powers. Now, with Oliver's theme of morality, they being the writers, have this little boy say bad guys a million kajillion times in his introductory scene alone. Like, the writers wanted bad guys imprinted on our frontal lobe. They put that Chekhov's gun in plain sight. They wanted it to be visible at all angles. Because before Oliver's revealed, him having powers, him and Mark are playing ball outside. Mark's recapping his adventure, fighting the villain of the week. And Oliver asks him, he's like, but the real bad guys got away, right? And Mark's like, yeah, sometimes that happens. Then Oliver gets ready to give very much baby Homelander, Kid Omni-Man vibes. Then the room gets real ominous. And he goes, if I was there, I would have made sure we got them. Right. I'm sure that won't be important. Disregard. So later that night, Mark and Debbie have the first of many conversations about Oliver. And Debbie brings up the adult concern of, with great power comes great responsibility. We know this. But how responsible can you expect an 8-year-old who is 4 2 months ago to act? Like, somebody with Oliver's power level, but also his maturity level, is dangerous. And she also highlights the fact that Mark getting his powers at 17 changed the trajectory of his life before he was old enough to even experience life, which is a point that she brings up again at the end of the season, in the hospital after Mark fights Conquest. But at least, no matter what, Mark got a normal childhood. He'll never get a normal life, but he experienced almost 2 decades as a regular human, which for sure has helped to shape his sympathy towards humans, like him choosing to defy Viltrum, even though he be getting beat down. Every other episode, this boy is fighting for his life, and he's still siding with humans over Viltrum because he lived as a regular human for some time. Herman? That's crazy. But Oliver will never experience an ounce of normalcy, and they have no idea the types of problems that could cause in the future. Like, perhaps... I don't know, maybe having trouble valuing human life because you're young, superpowered, and isolated. Sure, that won't be important. And Debbie says he might get hurt or hurt someone else by accident. So we fast forward a little bit. Oliver finds out that all the superheroes in the US are missing except for even Mark. He tries to go out and help, but Debbie's not having it. And the conversation that they have highlights the importance of an authority figure like Debbie, how Debbie and Mark's relationship is really the reason that Mark is the way he is. I don't even really think she was mad. Like, okay, he's going to sneak out to help civilians and fight bad guys. Like, that's not the problem. Really, I think her stopping him from leaving that house was an attempt on her part to establish some respect in their relationship, because realistically, Oliver could go do whatever he wants. Like, he's literally physically capable of doing whatever he wants. But she does agree to have Mark train him later on. And what ensues from here is the trials and tribulations of training Oliver, because they were worried about raising him, worried about parenting him. But I don't think either of them really realized how hard-headed this little boy would be and how difficult that would make training him. Mark takes him flying. He wants to focus on fighting. And Oliver isn't quite grasping the intricate complications as to why people on Earth would have some trouble forgiving Nolan after he decimated Chicago. Like, he's not trying to hear that it's going to take a lot of time and work to forgive him. He said, let's forgive him today. What's the problem? Oliver said, matter of fact, let me save people in this costume on my chest and they'll just get it. From Oliver's perspective, Mark's not trying hard enough. He said, you're not pondering the possibilities and that's your problem. So they leave Arts with their new costumes, go to the prison. Oliver doesn't listen again. Who would have thought? Now for this next part, bear with me because I don't truly fully understand what the Maulers were planning to do. Pretty sure it has something to do with like stealing the codes to nuclear devices. Just know it was something illegal. They incapacitated what was left of the Guardians after Rex and them left. So Mark had to pull up like nobody else was going to. But he forgot he Pinky promised to take Oliver flying. So when Oliver finds out, he's like, oh, say less. I'll meet you there. Come on. And I think we all know what happens from here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find a clip because when I was writing this script, I couldn't. So just in case, Just put Oliver's face over mine, right? That's what happens when you're a bad guy. Shivering in my timbers. I'm scared. The scariest part of this entire scene to me is when the Guardians gain partial mobility and they're looking at him crazy. So he reverts into child mode, talking about, I didn't mean it. It was an accident. Sir, prison. Like, jail. Yes, you did. Like, you meant. Okay, maybe you didn't mean it, but the second one was not an accident, sir. Like, that wasn't an accident. For Oliver, it's like a combination of not knowing how to hold back, but also not wanting or caring to hold back whatsoever. Especially against people that he perceives to be bad guys, which the Maulers most definitely are. And I think it's really interesting that when like adult authority figures that he doesn't know and he's unfamiliar with kind of question him, he, you know, reverts into child mode. But when Mark pulls up, he's just like, but they're bad guys. Like, what's the problem? I got them out of here quickly with haste, Marcus. Something you couldn't do. I'm sorry. Mark and Oliver's conversation after that scene is one of my favorites of like the whole season, because your perception changes, or at least mine did, as you watch the season over and over. First time, terrifying. To see a child like Oliver hold Viltrumite ideology in his heart of hearts, I think my heart's on this side, terrifying. Like, you weren't even really indoctrinated by them, Oliver. Where the fuck, like, who taught you this? But at the same time, when you kind of look at the bigger picture, Viltrum is on their way. We don't have time to be going back and forth with every villain of the week. And especially not when we could be getting out of here quickly, with haste. So for me, it's not even the unaliving that was like the worst part. The actual crime, I could look past that. It's more so like complete lack of remorse, the lying, the complete disregard for unsuperpowered life with the, and most people aren't even special like us line. That'll do it. That'll do it. That's why I draw the line, me personally. It's like, Oliver, where are you learning these eugenics from? Like, because the only Viltrumite he's even interacted with that would teach him something like that is his father. But he was with Nolan during his learning empathy arc. So, like, what are we talking about? Where is this coming from, Oliver? We need to check out that babysitter. So next time we see Oliver, he has grown. He's sneaking out to make regular friends, skateboard and whatnot. And this wasn't just a moment of growth for Oliver, but also for Debbie and Mark. Because Debbie, stressed. And rightfully so. Like, she's waking up in the middle of the night to find her child not in his bed. And part of her concern at the time was because Mark was thinking of moving out, and she can't raise a kid like Oliver on her own. But Mark decides to stay, and they both decide to just let Oliver be a kid and accept what comes with that. So the trials and tribulations of training Oliver have eased. And what we're left with is kind of just regular using Elephant Man as a test dummy. But back to forgiving Nolan. They have a conversation that, like, for the audience kind of helps to ease us into the Nolan redemption arc that's probably coming season 4. So Oliver argues, okay, so like, we want to get into the semantics. Did he try to take over the world? Yes, but he also helped a lot of people while he was here, pretending to be a superhero. Does it really matter if you're pretending or not if you actually did save lives? And he helped some Thraxans. So Mark's like, but the good doesn't cancel out the bad. Not to play devil's advocate. However, the good is not even that much good, Nolan. Because when we break it down, like, let's really put this into perspective. He was on Earth saving lives for a couple decades. How old is this man? Looks about 40-something, but we know that Viltrumite aging slows down as they age. IMBD has this man at over 2,000 years old. That's over 2 millennia of enacting violence on behalf of the Viltrum Empire. So a couple decades is not canceling out anything. A couple decades of saving lives cancels nothing. Not a thing. And even with the Thraxans. Okay, he saved this spaceship full of Thraxans. Ooh, I'll give you that. Brother, but you saved them just to put their whole civilization in danger. Because you wanted to go have a baby with a bug, knowing the consequences. So, like, it's still major growth for him. But, like, I'm not trying to hear that. I don't care. Like, I'm not trying to hear that you defended some people after you were the reason they were in danger in the first place. And it's not that I'm against the redemption arc. Like, I'm a Nolan fan. And they need all the help they could get. Like, I'm just saying. And Mark points out people on Earth don't even know about the Viltrum Empire or what happened on Thraxa, so they're missing all that information that could help to paint Nolan in a better light. But Oliver's not trying to hear that. He said, bro, so then explain it. Like, what are we going back and forth for? Tell them. And remember, the character trait that was used to introduce us to Oliver was his great memory, and all he remembers of their dad is the good. because that's all he was ever really exposed to. And me personally, I love the dynamic of fathers failing their first son horrendously just to somewhat redeem themselves. Really, that redemption looks like being banished and forced to join a new society or leaving of your own accord, starting with a new slate. As a result, they appear as a completely different person to their second son. Now these two sons grow up and they argue back and forth as to which version of their dad was the real version of their dad. Yes, I'm talking about Zeke and Aaron. So Mark and Debbie accept that Oliver's the kid, and they kind of just let him get away with kid activities like sneaking out without really addressing it. They also accept that they can't shelter him from using his powers. Mark said from the beginning that that's unrealistic. Oliver's a part of this thing that started way before he was born. It is what it is. So when the Invincible War starts, that little boy is out in the streets, putting in work, contributing more than Marcus. I'm not looking at Mark crazy because we know that he had to dig deep to win that fight against Conquest, right? So it's probably for the best that he sidelined himself in the Invincible War. But if I was Oliver, if I was putting on Oliver's shoes, like, don't let me find out that you were hiding in the hospital with your girlfriend and you didn't even know if mom was safe. You didn't know where our mother was? From this conjuncture onward, watch how you talk to me. Conquest pulls up. Jump scared, like shivering in my timbers. And at the beginning of that fight, Oliver's at home with Debbie. And Debbie, you know, having grown this season, she accepts that Mark needs help and Oliver is kind of the only person that can offer it except for Eve, who's hospitalized. So she doesn't try to stop him from going, but she tells him, keep moving and don't let him grab you. So Oliver's contribution in this fight doesn't last long. Mark and Oliver's disagreement over the value of life comes full circle at the end with their conversation in the hospital. Mark says that Oliver was right about the Maulers, about Angstrom, and he vows that if anyone, this is like the densest part of the script, so I feel like I'm really staring down, and he vows that if anyone else puts anyone he loves at risk, he will not hesitate to get them out of here. So yes, by the end, Mark agrees with Oliver, but are they both right? Because I'm all for Mark stopping, holding back, and just getting some people out of here with haste. Like, come on, what are we waiting for? But heavy on some. Because the glimpse into the life of the gay couple that Oliver fought at the bank because he's homophobic showed us that not all of these villains are evil. Not all of them. Like, I don't think a couple robbing a bank without really hurting anybody deserves to die. Mark stressing that he would only be this ruthless against people that are literally threatening his family shows that, like, he intends to use some caution. But I think that could very easily get very messy. Because we've seen him live on one side of, like, not using any life-threatening violence against anyone. And over time being put in these situations where that's kind of crumbled away and now he's open to the idea of being that ruthless. But I had to predict. I haven't read this far in the comics. But things are about to get very messy when season 4 comes. Like, he's probably going to end some lives that didn't deserve to end. And over time, maybe possibly have to, like, learn to work in the middle, whatever that looks like for him. As for Oliver, I think he's about to be a menace to society. Bro does not care. Now his big brother is co-signing that energy. His conqueror of a father is on his way back. He will be here shortly. And I don't care how much you redeem Nolan, he's anti-empire. He's not anti-violence. Watch out for that one. So if I had to predict Oliver's trajectory, keep the name Kid Omni-Man because I think it's about to fit perfectly.